We're at 6:30.
Double down.
The mic is live. Go ahead. Commissioner Losbeck, you may begin.
That Chief Schmidt was late.
It's on right now. Hello.
Yes.
Test 1, 2. Okay. Mic is live.
Okay. Welcome all of you that are able to listen to this broadcast. On behalf of the Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners, I'd like to welcome you to our first ever online DOC Board of Fire Commissioners meeting. Unusual circumstances has forced us to provide you this meeting from each of our homes. Unusual circumstances require unusual communication abilities. I'd like to introduce, I'm the Board of Commissioner Chair Brad Losbeck. We have Commissioner Chris Pfeiffer and Commissioner Casey Collins with us, along with the Secretary of the Board, David Taylor, and the Chief of the Department, Kristen Maurer. And at this point, we are going to convene our hearing concerning the potential of having a lid lift on the August 2020 ballot. And I'm going to turn it over to Chief Maurer for a PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Losbeck. Good evening. This is Fire Chief Kristen Maurer, and I want to thank you for joining us for our public hearing and Board of Fire Commissioners meeting. We are conducting this meeting remotely to protect your health and safety, as well as that of our first responders. Before we get into the hearing, I want to say a few words. These are unprecedented times for our community, state, and nation. What I want you to know is that we are ready to respond if you need us. We have trained for pandemics like COVID-19 and are here if your family member needs help. This is what we do, and we were able to do it because of your support for Clark County Fire District 6. One agenda item tonight is our board considering a resolution asking voters to consider a fire levy lid lift during the August primary election. The purpose of this lid lift is to hire additional personnel to respond to increasing call volumes, improve our training, replace and add emergency apparatus, and earthquake-proof our busiest station. Our board has planned the steps needed to go to the ballot with a lid lift well in advance of COVID-19. If the board approves going to the ballot tonight and voters approve the funding request this fall, the revenue will not be collected until 2021. And the reality is that this revenue likely will go to backfill the expenses associated with responding to COVID-19 calls. This was not planned, but we are prepared to respond. The lid lift request is timely, and we appreciate your consideration. As we move through the fire levy lid lift presentation, you may submit questions and comments in the chat box on the right of your screen. Please identify yourself with your name and address. We will answer questions and respond to comments at the end of the presentation. Also, there is a link at the top of the chat box if you want to follow along with the PowerPoint presentation. That presentation is also located on our Facebook site and our website at www.ccfd6.org under Fire Levy Lid Lift. So now we will go through the PowerPoint presentation where Clark County Fire District 6 is proposing a fire levy lid lift. So emergency services in 2020, and this is an update of our services. Our service area at Clark County Fire District 6 serves 70,000 people with compassion, care, and professionalism. We cover over 37 square miles, and this area includes the neighborhoods of Hazeldale, Salmon Creek, Elida, Mount Vista, the Fairgrounds, and Lakeshore. We are grateful and accountable to our community, and we're thankful for the opportunity to serve. Last year, we responded to over 8,800 calls, and we operate under a balanced budget. We passed all of our independent audits by the state. What we offer at District 6 is an all-inclusive fire service agency. We provide fire suppression, emergency medical service that includes advanced life support and basic life support. We do wildland firefighting in the urban interface, provide technical rescue, such as high-angle trench rescue, swift water rescue. We have a limited hazardous materials incident response. We value fire prevention and public education. We want our community to know how their emergency services are funded. The daily operations at Clark County Fire District 6 are funded through 2 levies. Those are paid through property taxes. The amounts of those levies are capped at the voter-approved rates. It's $1.50 for fire per 1,000 of assessed property value, and 50 cents for EMS per 1,000 of assessed property value. Over time, these levy rates fall as property values rise to limit the fire district to the same amount of revenue per year, plus a 1% increase that is allowed by Washington state law. At times, we ask our community for a lid lift to return that levy to an amount previously approved by voters. Lid lifts help us keep up with higher call volumes and the increasing cost for service. Our 2020 fire operating budget had a revenue of $11,823,237. The fire levy portion of that was $11,514,276. It's the majority of our revenue. Other revenue came in at $308,961. Our beginning fund balance for 2020 was $9,299,364. We require that we have enough cash on hand at the beginning of each year to meet all of our financial obligations until we can collect the current year's taxes that are collected and distributed in May. That is why we carry a beginning fund balance. Our budget expenditures. Our 2020 fire operating budget has expenditures of $16,014,240. Of that, fire suppression constitutes about 74% of that budget at $11,905,694. Administration is about 11% of that cost at $1.8 million. Intergovernmental issues are about 11% of that cost at $1.7 million. Training, legislation, and fire prevention cover about 1.5% at $239,000. Our facilities cost about $212,000 to operate, and essential rescue needs cost about $43,000. That gives us an ending fund balance of $5,108,361. Again, we have to carry that over to meet our financial obligations until taxes are collected. We also have an EMS operating budget with a revenue of $3.7 million. The EMS levy covers most of that financial burden at 99%, and we collect another $37,000 of other, covering 1% of that budget. The beginning fund balance in our EMS operating budget for 2020 is $3.5 million. Our 2020 EMS operating budget has anticipated expenditures at $4.7 million. 90% of those are emergency medical services, which includes your paramedic service at $4.2 million. Supplies make up about 3% at $162,000. Services to supplement the EMS operating budget come in at about 3% and $162,000. And EMS training is about 1.8% of that budget at $84,000. Capital expenditures in the EMS budget account for about 1% at $50,000. That leaves us an ending fund balance in the EMS budget of $2.6 million. Again, we're required to have enough cash on hand to meet those obligations. Clark County Fire District 6 is a rapidly growing community. And over the last 10 years, our call volume has increased 70% since 2010. We've pretty much remained with the same staffing and response modeling since 2010. And now we're getting to the point where we can't sustain that and we need to add additional resources. You can see that our call volume in 2010 was 5,100 calls, and now we're over 8,800 calls. Our call volumes continue to increase almost 30% in 5 years. Last year alone was 12.9% without any increase in staffing. The cost to provide service requires more revenue, and we're only allowed 1% annual increase by law. These costs are out of our control, but represent the real needs of our community, and those include firefighting, emergency medical service, training so that you can have the top professionals in the field, facility needs so that we can be ready to respond, and replacing apparatus and equipment. We are asking our fire district voters to consider a fire levy lid lift because of this call volume increase and the impact it has on our department. Our last lid lift was in 2015. We completed all the promised projects from that lid lift. We've improved our community insurance rating. We've reduced insurance ratings for some homeowners and businesses. Some of those things that we promised in 2015 were to replace the Salmon Creek Station, which just opened this week, to add a training facility, which will open this summer, and to improve our facilities so that they are essential facilities and can respond in a case of disaster. We have a plan to respond to this increase in call volume. Since 2015, our fire levy has fallen from $1.50 to $1.16 per thousand of assessed value. We're considering asking Fire District 6 citizens and voters to return that lid lift to $1.50 per thousand. And this lid lift request, if approved, will go forth in the August 4th primary election. The lid lift would fund additional personnel to respond to our higher call volumes, as adding personnel to what we currently carry as a force. It would also improve firefighter training, earthquake-proof our busiest station so that it could respond in a major disaster, and add or replace aging apparatus. This also reduces the impacts to taxpayers. The initial additional cost to an owner of a $350,000 home would be approximately $9.92 per month. The goal is that we pay cash for all of these projects, as opposed to financing, which costs taxpayers more. District 6 has a history of paying cash, and we want to continue to do that. More information can be found about the fire levy lid lift that we're proposing for 2020 at our website at www.ccfd6.org. Thank you for taking the time to check into this new broadcast that we're trying. And if you have any questions about the fire levy lid lift that you don't want to ask tonight in the online forum, my contact number is there, as well as my email. We also listed additional resources, and we invite everyone to look at our website at www.ccfd6.org. Join our Facebook community at Clark County Fire District 6, and follow us on Twitter at ccfd6.
Thank you, Chief. That was perfect. And we're waiting to see if anybody would like to ask any questions. We'll give you another 5 or 10 minutes to see if any questions pop up. And if not, we will, at some point, we'll end the hearing, and we'll wait till 7:30 for our regular meeting. So if anyone out there has any questions, we're here to answer them and to give you more information. So please type in questions if you have any. Did either of the other two board members want to make any comments while we're waiting?
This is Casey Collins. I just wanted to commend the chief on the presentation. I thought it was clear, concise, and accurate. And thank you for your preparation in that.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins.
Sorry, I was muted there. This is Commissioner Pfeiffer. I would just agree with what Commissioner Collins said, and I appreciate the presentation.
Thanks, Chief. I think, why don't we wait? We'll wait about maybe another 5 minutes And then we can also let people know if they comment after we're done with the meeting and they provide their name, address, and question, we'll answer that during the citizen communication during our board meetings. So they do have lots of time to go ahead and ask questions at this point, about 45 minutes before that starts. But I think we'll give a few more minutes to see if there's any questions out there. You must have done such a good job, Chief, that people just don't have questions. So with that said, Chief Schmidt, can you go ahead and kill the mic here in a second, and we'll just remind people that if you have questions, go ahead and type them in, and we'll address them at our regular board meeting, which will start at 7:30, right here on the same YouTube link. Is that correct, Chief Schmidt?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and turn the mic off now, and if you want to rejoin us at 7:30 for our regular meeting, you're more than welcome, and thank you.
And we are live.
Okay, welcome everyone to the March 24th, 2020 regular Clark County Fire District 6 board meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will call for any additions to the agenda by either of the other board members.
Casey here, none here.
Chris here, no additions.
Okay, read and approve the minutes of the March 3rd, 2020 regular meeting and workshop.
Casey here. Move that we dispense with the reading and move for approval.
Chris here, I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Citizen communication, I don't believe we had any additional questions. So we'll move on to committee reports, health and safety.
So thank you, Commissioner Lustig. This report was prepared by Chief Russell. We had 4 injuries reported since the last meeting, but no claims were submitted. They had discussion on COVID-19, the Station 63 moves, and Firehouse pre-fire data.
Thank you. Parade, still up in the air. Probably won't happen, but everybody wants us to wait a couple weeks to make the final decision. Risk management, it says no meeting, and Triple FB, Chief Maurer.
The only thing discussed at Triple FB last meeting was that they're closing down Station 151 to public meetings as well.
Okay. I call your attention to the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. We're going to go on to the chief's report. Station 151 response report.
So for Fire District 6, for fire, there were 0 out of 4 responses. For medical, 2 out of 18, for a total of 2 of 22 and 9% coverage. For CCFR, there was 0 out of 0 for fire, 2 out of 9 for medical, for a total of 22%. This time last month, we're averaging about the same amount of calls, although calls to date in 2020 are about 20 calls higher than 2019.
Thank you, Chief. How about the overtime summary report?
So overtime total for the month of February was $55,013.42. You can see the breakdown there in your board packet, most of that being shift replacement called in overtime.
FYI, I like the way that you broke that down versus the way it used to be. It's much easier to read, and I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Very nice. Okay, how about, I'm flipping back and forth here. Budget performance.
So fire budget performance as of March 17th, we've expended 20.16% of the fire budget and 23.36% of the EMS budget. We anticipate that those expenditures will be at 25% at the end of this month, so we're still below that. However, we are spending more than we did this time last year, and I put reasons and the variances in there why, but it's mostly the building projects, and then this past month we've had an increase in cost with the COVID-19.
Okay. Any questions, other board member type people? Okay. Facility project update.
Brad,
Go ahead, Case.
I just want to say I think it's very good that you document that snapshot in time of the impact of COVID-19.
Thank you. I think we'll see more of that in the future months.
I'm sure we were, but I'm glad that you captured it. I just want to make mention of that.
Thank you.
Okay, construction, new facility update.
So this report was provided by Chief Newberry to present to you guys. For Station 62, the punch list items are complete with some minor items, and 2KG has agreed to replace the PT room floor, so that will be happening in the near future. For Station 63, everybody moved in last week. The audio-visual contractor has programmed the systems and will come back to train the trainers. The security cameras are live. Key card access is live, and the card reader for the gate is being relocated. For the interiors, we're still sourcing artwork, and all furniture has been installed. The concrete and asphalt for phase 1 are complete. Landscaping is 95% complete with beauty bark laid. The fueling station, we're still investigating. So far, we've only had one submittal, and we believe it's coming in over what we anticipated the cost. So we're still researching that. Phase 2 of the training tower demo of 63 was scheduled for the week of 3:30. However, they started training on it today. Coordination with the tower manufacturer and the erector is ongoing. Commencement of the training tower construction is set for 3:30. And Chief Newberry still needs to work on the electrical plan. Elements for phase 1 that will not be completed by 3/18 include the fuel service, the sign monument we got from Vancouver Sign, and Hydro Seed. The entire completion date is still slated for April 28th of 2020, but we anticipate that will be postponed. And then he has included the change order spreadsheet, or he will include that prior to the next board meeting.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen?
None here.
No addition, no questions.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to COVID-19 measures. You want to update us a little bit on that, Chief?
Sure. So I've been sending out department-wide email. We probably do them twice a week on average, and then Chief Russell sends out the county updates every day. We just followed Governor Inslee's recommendation where we sent all-day non-essential personnel to work from home. Fast Tech was great in getting us set up with laptops so we could make that happen. And all the personnel that are working from home came up with work-from-home plans, so we know what they're working on and they're available during their normal business hours to the districts. They're just working from a remote location. Other than that, for last I saw, we're up to 13 cases in Clark County. It may be more since I looked this afternoon, but I just realized that Commissioner Pfeiffer was not included in those groups CCSD 6 emails, but I've added him to that tonight, and that's the easiest way for me to update you guys, because this is a rapidly changing event that we're adjusting hourly.
Yeah, the updates are good.
Yeah, Casey here. I appreciate that. You're on my VIP email, so I get everything in right away.
Ooh. Am I on your VIP?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure I am. Any questions for the Chief before we move to old business?
No, thank you for the updates.
You're welcome.
Okay, old business board workshop schedule.
So, of course, tonight on it should be March 24th, I apologize, but that was the public hearing that we pushed back a week. Our next meeting, we plan to, in the workshop forum, present to you recommendations for the volunteer program moving forward and apparatus replacement schedule.
Okay. Would you make sure that our volunteers get notice of that meeting in case they want to attend, Chief?
I will, yes.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, board members, on those two?
None here.
No thanks. Nope.
Okay. I got to go back to agenda here. Going back and forth, unfortunately. Okay, surplus. Any other old business? No. New business, surplus?
So, Chief Newberry,
Excuse me, Casey here. Did we have any follow-up on the legal? Would that fall under old business? How's that coming along?
are you speaking to the arbitration, Commissioner?
Yes. Yeah, wouldn't that fall under old business?
Yes.
Where are we at on that?
So
the grievance. Go ahead, Chief.
So the district and the local have been working together on this throughout the whole process, and we came to a grievance resolution, which we resolved with the local. Essentially, we outlined pregnancy time leaves and how those differ than injury and illness.
Chief, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm asking about. I'm talking about the public information request, where we're at.
Oh, there's been no further movement comment on it since
That-
SNR filed the injunction for us.
Okay, thank you. And you'll notify us if something else happens.
Yes, I will.
That's what I wanted to know.
Good question. Any other old business?
None here.
New business, moving on to surplus.
So in your board packet, Chief Newberry has provided a list of surplus items. The majority of those would probably go to Jay Stout. However, I got a call from CCSO about some of the equipment that they may be in need of. So I would like to request that you let the chief surplus at their discretion.
So moved.
Yeah. Chris,
Okay,
yeah, I'd
moving-
second that.
Thanks, Chris. Moved and seconded. The chief will get rid of our surplus items based on her permission. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, resolution 22003. That's the lid lift.
So this is the resolution requesting that the board submit the levy for the general election, resolution 2020-03.
So, is there comments from either board member?
I have a couple of comments, and I'd just like to say, this snapshot in time might not be ideal to do this. However, we're in for the long haul, and we've been in for the long haul, and I think I'd like to put it on the ballot, and at that time, our voters can give us the thumbs up or the thumb down. But if we don't put it on the ballot, it won't have that choice. So I'm in favor of putting it on the ballot.
Thank you, Casey. Chris?
Yeah, I would agree with what Commissioner Collins has said here, and I support that entirely. I think the presentation earlier tonight was very good. I think the PowerPoint spelled out the need for increases in staffing, the calls for service at an increased rate of nearly 70% over the last 10 years. Those things won't change regardless of COVID-19. So I don't have anything further to add. I would make a motion that we approve the resolution 2020-03.
I'd like to second that.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2020-03. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Board Secretary here, can I make one point?
Yes.
On the agenda, it says submission of levy general election, and you're going for the primary, correct?
We are going for the primary, yes. That's what the resolution actually says itself, but thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the minutes will reflect primary.
Thank you. Okay. That's why you get the big bucks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. Resolution 2020-04, declaration of emergency. This one's a little different. We've never done this one before. I want your comments.
Yeah, can the chief maybe give us a synopsis of this, better understanding?
So, like Commissioner Losbeck stated, this is nothing like we've ever seen before. And especially this COVID-19 is something that we have never seen before. What this resolution does is, as looking forward into the future, we wanted to anticipate what would happen if 2 or more board members couldn't meet, if you couldn't hold a meeting, if you couldn't pay the bills. And we didn't want the department to stall to where we couldn't protect our employees and our citizens. So what this resolution does is, in the event that any of those things were to happen, that the chief would be able to be able to keep the business of the district moving forward. This was something that I discussed with Brian Snur, our legal counsel, and he drafted this. I've since talked to chiefs around the state, especially in the Seattle area, got copies of the ones that they're presenting. And it's essentially an emergency declaration that gives the chief some latitude, like I said, to keep the business running. It's not intended to keep the board out of the business of the district. It's just, if you couldn't do your job, we couldn't meet, you couldn't sign the paperwork. It's a worst case scenario resolution that we're trying to be proactive with.
I understand. I think it's probably some good housekeeping that'll hopefully they'll never be used.
And it is specific just to the COVID-19. It's not an emergency declaration in general for the chief.
Understood.
Yeah, I've taken an opportunity to read this resolution. I support it in its entirety. It makes good business sense moving forward during this pandemic. I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2020-04.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, board.
We're obviously not going to do an executive session, so we'll go to roundtable good of order.
I have a few things. So in your last meeting, the district presented policy 300, incident management, policy 200, organizational structure. With our heavy workload this past couple weeks, I just decided to postpone that till the April meeting for your second reading. So you'll see those again.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to notify the board that Battalion Chief Kevin Todd has graduated and completed his bachelor's degree from EOU. And
Nice.
so he is our only battalion chief right now with a bachelor's degree.
Very nice. Congrats to Kevin.
And I also, I also know that Brandon Frank completed his bachelor's degree sometime in the last year, but I don't have the exact date. So
Congrats to Brandon as well. Nice work.
Good stuff. Anything else? I just like to say to staff and all of our personnel, what a great job you've done, especially the last month, with all the extra precautions you have to take. We have not slowed down the service to the public. Attitudes remain really good, and I really appreciate all the additional work that staff has done. I know you guys are working way more than your 40 hours a week and putting things together like this, and I sincerely appreciate it, and thank you very much.
thank you. I should take the opportunity to recognize a couple of individuals at the department. Captain Eric Simica has been instrumental in this COVID-19 outbreak and kept us at state, make sure our personnel got quarantined as soon as possible, and he's just been very instrumental in keeping this going, keeping our supplies up, and making sure we were prepared for this. And then firefighter Dave Fisher has also provided us with the state-of-the-art SCBA and respiratory equipment, including APRs. And between him and Captain Simica, we are probably the best equipped fire service agency right now in our area, to the point where we could possibly donate some of our equipment to other departments that are in desperate need. If it was a desperate need. But I should just recognize that those two individuals have really set us up for success in this COVID-19 outbreak. And then I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Chief Newberry. Over the past month, he has worked every day to get that station open, and it's a shame that opened right when we had this outbreak and we couldn't celebrate it more to the extent that we wanted to, but we do plan on doing that in the future, and his tireless work got that station open when it did. So
Do you do good letters in their file ever?
I will.
Okay, would you include the board's thanks in those on our behalf when you do that?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Yeah, it was a long haul.
It's been crazy.
Yeah, for the first day we bought the first piece of ground. Get that done.
Yeah.
Any other roundtable in order?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about our community and what the community is doing in this trying time. You see it all over the place through the business association reaching out, and other people, delivering food to shut-in people and reaching out, and the neighborhood association having expertise in the listening field, because the suicide rate has gone up from last year to this year, and this may be playing a part in it. And it's very important that our community engage each other to make sure that we're all doing all right. And we got to play a big part in that, and I know we are.
Amen. Anything else? Okay, we need to authorize issuance of payroll warrants, authorize March payroll direct deposit, authorize March deposit of federal and FICA Med, authorize pre-authorization invoice transmittal, and authorize payment of current bills. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to adjourn the meeting. We're going to kill the mic, and then we need to talk about when we're going to go in to sign. So, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.